Buckingham Palace, saying today that King Charles III has been diagnosed with a form of cancer. A royal source says it's not prostate cancer after the king's recent treatment for benign prostate enlargement, but did not elaborate further on the diagnosis. The palace says the 75-year-old monarch has already begun treatment and that Charles remains wholly positive about his treatment and looks forward to returning to full public duty as soon as possible. For more on what Charles's diagnosis could mean for the monarchy, we're joined now by royal historian and history professor Justin Vovk. Justin, it seems jarring to be talking about cancer and the king in the same sentence so soon after his coronation. What's the protocol when a monarch gets sick?
Well, the protocol that we're working on here is kind of outdated because under Elizabeth II, we never really had any public statements about her health until the day she passed away. Prior to that, you had Charles's grandfather, George VI, who passed away from cancer. But that was, 70 years ago. And so the modern monarchy is kind of having to make this up a little bit as it goes and figure out the balance between maintaining a degree of personal privacy, but also trying to avoid too much public speculation and too much rumor and theorizing going on.
In that vein, how much do you anticipate we could learn about his diagnosis? Or do you think today's statement is the most the palace will be willing to share?
I imagine we're not going to hear much more on the specifics of it unless it is relevant to the public information. The palace has already given us quite a bit of information in the sense of the fact that the king is already starting treatments, that he plans on continuing with the business of state, but that he has been advised not to be having any public duties. So that is more than I would have anticipated. And I suspect unless there's a major change, I don't think we're going to hear much more.
Should something happen to the king, do you think William is ready to take the reins so soon?
Well, I think there's been a policy within the House of Windsor for a number of years now to prepare the next generation. We saw this with the Queen and her including Charles and even Camilla and things like the state opening of Parliament, the delegating of royal duties. We've seen Charles even doing this in the past year as king, where he has delegated more and more out to the Prince and Princess of Wales. They are certainly, for their age, among the most qualified heirs that Britain has seen. I think William has had the education, the training, as well as the experience with the media that would make him as ready as possible under what could be very unexpected circumstances. Well, I think a lot is going to be determined by the royal household in the coming days in terms of what the king is actually able to undertake. There are certain functions as head of state, such as his planned visit to Canada later this year, that will likely be canceled. But we also have the question of exactly who will take these responsibilities, because we know that the Prince of Wales is stepping back right now to care for and support his wife and children. So we could actually see extended members of the family like Princess Anne, the king's sister, and possibly even his nieces, Beatrice and Eugenie, in the interim being asked to step in some ceremonial functions. So it's a little bit unprecedented to have the sovereign out of commission for a bit, while at a time when